We're here. Sorry. 8, 7, 6.
Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting on Monday, May 5th. We'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Can I get a roll call, please, Beth?
Select Chair, Mr. Coy.
Here?
Select Vice Chair, Mr. DeRoche.
Here.
Selectman, Mr. Gifford.
Here.
Selectwoman, Ms. Costa.
Here.
Selectman, Mr. Sherman.
Here.
Excuse me, Shorman. And please note for the record, we have Town Manager, Mr. Colby, with us.
All right, thank you. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next up is public comment. Looks like we don't have anyone. And on this beautiful rainy night, we got Dan Garlington here. Try if you come in, come out.
You want to call it beautiful, but okay.
Yeah, well, beats the alternative, I guess, right?
Sure does.
No, we figured we'd have you come in, Dan, especially after the winter, kind of give us,
Yeah.
you know, what happened over the winter. I know you guys, as usual, in my opinion, you guys did a great job again this winter.
I
And I hear
appreciate
and
that.
I hear that from other people who drive through this town. They always mention how well Plastow was plowed.
I appreciate that. I will definitely pass the word. You just want me to give you a,
Yeah, just kind of give us kind of, you know, how you
Well-
made through the winter.
yeah, plowing. No, the winter was long, I guess. Didn't start out that busy, but once we get into mid-January through mid-February, it was every other day or every third day. So takes wear and tear on guys, takes wear and tear on equipment, and obviously takes wear and tear on the budget.
Yeah.
So probably with no surprise, the plowing budget, outside contractors budget is overspent, I believe, at this point by almost a little over 19,000. The salt budget is overspent a little over 18,000. But the good thing about the salt budget is that we have a full shed, or just about a full shed going into the upcoming season. So, which was, believe it or not, very similar to where we started last fall. We had a full shed, no money in the budget. Knock on wood, you know, winter doesn't start until after January 1st, and then we didn't really have any real large storms. Probably the longest in duration storm was the last one in mid-March, where we had snow, ice, freezing rain, sleet, and it went on for 30-something hours. So, like I said, that takes toll on not only the guys and the equipment, but the budget itself.
Yeah, I know sometimes the smaller storms can be
Yeah,
worse because they
they
just
come in
drag.
and they drop 4 inches. You come in, you plow it, you treat it, you plow it, you retreat it, and those are the ones you like to have, but we don't get to pick. I want to thank the board and the town manager once again for allowing us to get together with the contractors a couple weeks ago. I heard from just about every single one of them the following day and how much they appreciated, you know, the gestures, the ability for you guys to recognize them, and you know, the little gift that you got them went a long ways, I think, with maintaining a relationship.
I know for myself, I thought it was nice to finally meet him.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the only time you see him is, you know, when I'm kind of almost cursing under my breath as they're throwing snow back on my driveway after I just did it. But there's nothing you can do about that. It's just the way it goes.
And you probably noticed that it's not their, you know, public forum, and it's not their cup of tea. They're, you know, they have normal 40-hour jobs, and then plowing snow is something to do extra, and they're not generally like to be the center of attention kind of people. So
So it was nice.
they really appreciate it. Like I said, the following day, every single one, but I think one of them called me, texted me. And it was a little weird for them to call me, because usually I'm calling them. So it was a little something different. But they all appreciated the
Oh, they do a great job
Yeah.
year in and year out.
Yep. I realize some of those contractors have been plowing this for 40+ years.
Oh, yeah, they started telling some of the stories.
Some we couldn't talk about, but hopefully I'll get a full crew starting tomorrow, and we're gonna start taking sanders and plows off most of our trucks, depending on how hard it's raining. So we're gonna be able to transition into more of a spring, summer workload.
Yep.
We've been dealing with some vacations and some time off in the last month, so. So now I'll get in. Do you want me to talk a little bit of what's going forward? All right.
Absolutely.
Household hazardous waste was 2 Saturdays ago. It rained. Big surprise. Even with the rain, we had 339 households come through. 102 of those were from Plasto. So just waiting to get back the bills and all that, and then we'll send out the invoices. It's a little bit lower than last year's spring collection. That was 363 households and 134 were Plasto. So, and I look back, going way back to as far as I have records, and we average anywhere between 200 and 400. So 300 and something is right down the middle.
It was vacation week too, right?
Right. And it was rainy, and it was a bunch of other things going on too. So, the other thing that was going on that same Saturday was the roadside pickup. People pick up the trash. That was a little bit down, but we still had 129, 130 bags or items that I picked up off the side of the road and threw them in the dumpsters. So, there were some roads that were on the list that didn't get cleaned, but there was also some roads that had bags that weren't on the list. So I think in the overall, it was a pretty successful. We opened the landfill last Saturday. It was very busy, as you can imagine, after a winter and people, want to get their stuff taken care of. Street sweeping, we're supposed to start street sweeping this week, but that's not going to happen.
We're street washing.
Yeah, so we'll try to reschedule starting someday next week. The company that we hired they hired a full-time fireman to run the sweeper for them. So the schedule is going to be based on what his days off are. So, but we'll have him in town when it's dry enough, and we'll get them done. Town hall repairs that we tried to do last year. Ronnie Reardon and his guys came in on Wednesday, Thursday, started it, and on Friday they laid the sod down up a couple of the sidewalks there, and we got a little bit of loom work to do, and then a few places to hydro seed, and then
The sod looks nice out
yeah,
there.
looks good. They did a great job. Westville Road, 125, Westville Road at 121A. I think Greg and I, about a month and a half ago, we met out there. I think we finally got the blessing from the DOTs to do what we want to do over there temporarily until the rest of that corridor gets, whatever the state's going to do with the rest of that corridor. They might just keep what we do. They might change it. They might take what we do and maybe push it onto a couple of the other intersections. They're just not sure on what they're going to do. I applied for a driveway permit, which is part of the process of paving a town road that comes onto a state road. I've received that permit. So I applied for a dig safe number that is now a valid number, so I can know what's there. And I meet with Continental tomorrow to hopefully come up with a tentative schedule on when we can do it. I'd like to try to do it before Old Home Day, but a lot of that's going to depend on what the weather is and what Continental's schedule is too. So
That'd be nice, because it'll make that intersection look a little bit better than the barrels.
yes,
The barrels serve their purpose.
they did. We've lost a few, a couple that have been destroyed, but we've lost, I think, 3 barrels and like 4 lights.
It's actually not too
It's
bad.
not that bad considering.
And it was there all winter.
Yeah. So, I think as we move forward, once I get tentative dates, I'll run by Greg and we can, I guess, make a decision.
Yeah.
Catch basins repair, some reason this year I got at least 4 or 5 that need to be, the catch basins themselves need to be rebuilt from somewhere, either the sump up to the top or it's just a cone, but we got a few that have taken, they're gonna need some repairs. Another thing that shows up this time of year is beavers. We got 3 or 4 areas that I have the guy that I utilize to try to control those. He's a busy man right now, so as complaints come in or as I find problems with where we get problems with beaver, I send it to him and he puts us on the list.
What areas do we have the beaver problems right now?
Old County Road over near the highway, that's a 3 times a year issue. Problem over there is sometimes they're on both sides of the road. So if they're on the upstream side, they affect the water that comes off the park.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty big area, but we don't get that water flowing. And if you're good on the other side, then they affect the water that's behind Fran Avenue. The issue with the Fran Ave is it's not really an infrastructure that's going to affect the town, but it definitely affects those people. So I've just asked the guy that I hired a contract to just take a peek, and if it's something that he can try to address relatively simple, then he's going to do that. But like I said, he's busy, and the other place is Forest Street, and then over here at the Historical Society. Historically,
Oh, that's always there.
there's always families. The cemetery expansion, Greg is gonna ask me to oversee a little bit of that. I don't know if we're at the point now where we're gonna try to lay those sections out and put the markers in the ground so that we're in a position to be, if we get into a bind over in the other sections, we have a place to fall back on. Unfortunately, there's a lot of unknowns in certain sections of that cemetery being as old as it is, and coal patching. We've been coal patching every day since March. So I'm in the process of trying to modify my driveway permit. Driveway permit is something that homeowners should get when they go to redo their driveway, whether it's a new driveway or resurface or pretty much anything they're going to do. That they call or email me. I meet up with them. I give them a driveway permit. It doesn't cost the town. It doesn't cost them anything. It does 2 things. It not only protects the town, but it also protects the homeowner, because there's some people out there that might want to scam these people. And, if they know they're going to get a driveway permit and there's going to be somebody that's going to oversee that, sometimes they don't pursue the scamming portion of it. So there's some parts of the permit that don't really pertain as much to Plastow as it used to. So I'd like to modify that, then bring it back to the board and have them, have you guys accept it or adopt it. I think that's about it for now. And then we get into the fall, we get into catch basin cleaning, and I have started, the park swales.
Yes.
The history of those, we all know. It's 2 years ago, it was too wet. Last year, we didn't have any manpower. And this year, who knows what.
Yeah.
So realistically, I'd like to get a budget number to have an outside contractor, or at least have an idea what it would cost for an outside contractor to come in every couple, 2-3 years and cut the brush, dredge the swales, either haul it away or spread it out or whatever, but at least have it maybe take a place in somebody's budget. So it's not gonna,
Right.
worst case scenario, if the highway department can't do it in-house, we have at least an avenue or a budget number to hire somebody to do it.
If it's supposed to be done, is it every 2 years it was supposed to be done, or is it 3?
I'm not aware of anything that indicates anything that's
I'm just trying to remember,
regulated.
because, from my time at recreation,
Yeah, I don't.
I remember we went a long time.
You did.
And that created the problems.
Yeah,
Then we said, okay, we got to get this done every couple of years.
yeah. And then we
Cool.
hired a company to come in and cut the brush and then 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we did a partial in-house thing. We rented a machine and we went in and then last year we just didn't have the manpower to do it. And then-
Yeah, 'cause
It's flowing. I'm not, I was over there a couple times. It's flowing. It's just, it's something we should really keep an eye on because
Well, if it overgrows, it's not gonna get better, right, if you don't
Correct.
maintain it. It's maintenance.
correct.
But right now, the water's flowing well over there now,
It was flowing when I was there. I haven't been there since all this rain came in, but it was,
but it hasn't been backing up onto the fields or anything?
not that I'm aware of. Those fields are gonna be wet regardless of the water.
No, I get that, but before we had it backing up onto the fields.
Yeah, I don't know what the status is over there. But I've reached out to a contractor to try to at least get something, a budget number
Okay.
to fall back on. If
Yeah.
we say it's whatever, $5,000, at least we can either put it in my budget, the rec department's budget, or somewhere, make conservation, wherever we feel as though, so you guys feel as though would be the best spot to put it so that you have something to fall back on if we say we got to keep this up every 3 years and you've got to have money to do it.
Right, no, exactly.
So I'm in the process of trying to get at least something to start with. That's pretty much what I've got.
And do you have any roads scheduled to be paved at all this year?
I don't have that yet. I don't usually come out with any names until I know what the cost is, and I want to do Westville Road first, Westville Road and Rutledge.
Okay,
There's 2 sections of Westville Road I want to do. From where the water line stopped paving
yeah,
to the bridge, and then after the bridge from Witten Place, Witten Place to Main Street.
because I know you do a good job planning that out, so
Yeah, so,
I know you have a schedule that you try to keep up with.
I mean, cold patching wise, we could get several places. One of the major ones is Westville Road, so when we encumbered some of that money, that's gonna help the overall budget, but it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna cover all of it, so.
Right. All right. Questions, comments? No, I know, it was great meeting everybody who did the plowing for us.
Yes, it was
you
great.
know. And like I said earlier, it is amazing how many times you do get comments how well Plastow was plowed.
Yeah.
And I have other people in other towns around us say they wish their towns were as well.
Yes, I've actually had contractors that have stopped plowing for me, then before they really had paid too much attention. And then after the fact, they say, wow, and it's a matter of trying to do it the best or be on top of it, being proactive versus reactive. And
Yeah.
it's kind of how I try to handle a lot of the projects that I.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks for the update. And I'll tell you, for a team of 3, it's amazing what you guys get accomplished.
Rely heavily on our contractors and, but 3 guys and add vacation time and
Yeah.
other time that guys need time off. And so
Yeah. No, thank you. And make sure you tell.
I will
everyone
absolutely.
the same.
Do you have any open positions at the highway department?
Yes. One that I know of. I don't know if there's 2,
So looking to hire one more person?
at least one.
At least one.
I'd like to get somebody with a CDL so that we can.
We must have that posted out there, I would hope.
We're, yes, continuously looking at the ads, posting, reposting, trying different avenues, places and the like, so.
I wonder if we tried anything like a post over at the high school, get a kid graduating who might want to maybe build into a position.
Mhm.
Get the right kid. You never know.
No,
Someone with just a good work ethic.
unfortunately, that's how I started out too.
Is that how you started?
Well, not long after I was 21 years old when I started here.
Well, what did it say in the yearbook?
Yeah, yeah, true. I was the acting highway supervisor 2 years in high school before
Really?
I was. Back then they had student government day.
Yeah.
And I was my junior and senior year, I was the acting highway supervisor. I should have known then. All right, I'll admit it, I'm not the sharpest guy in the
I
box.
said you got in deeper. Well, thanks, Dan. I
All right,
appreciate it.
anything, any
You guys do a
questions,
great
feel
job.
free to email me or.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you guys
Thank
need,
you
let
for your
us know.
support.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
All right. Next up, we had water rates, but I guess the water rates aren't quite ready.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of background. We have contracted with Underwood to look at everything related to water, from costs to the rates being charged, usage, and the like. I printed it off. The last time water rates were discussed, the board adopted on December 19th of 2022 the rate schedule and the like. Since that time, though, this is both the consumption charges, the meter charges, and anything that turn-ons, offs, final readings, backflows, things of that nature. So there's a couple of areas that do need addressing, and that consumption charges, because we buy our water basically from Hampstead area water. We've seen at least 2 increases in what we're paying them, but we haven't raised our rates. And that has been on purpose. We did have a little bit of, fund balance, but as we're working through the system and the ins, the outs, and the like, the water quality, the flushing and the like, it's given us a little bit of time to get a better handle on it. So we are at that point in time where there will be some recommendations. One of them, fire suppression, I'm going to look to the board to approve doing it semi-annually. Currently, we usually only do it at the end of the year. I'd like to do it similarly as property taxes, where we'll send out a bill in, June, July, and then again, in November, December. So that's one of the areas. Another, as part of that, we need to report to the state our backflow tests. So we have commercial properties and the like that are required to have fire suppression. They have backflow preventers to keep the water that's in the fire suppression system from getting back into the potable water. So those preventers need to be tested every year, and we also report that to the state. We have difficulty in getting those, but also in getting them scheduled and getting the companies to comply. What we're looking at is changing with an increase in the fire suppression rate. I would like to have Hampstead area take over the actual testing of those backflows so that we're testing 100% of them ourselves versus relying on the companies to do it for us. So, but that's just a couple of, areas, some of the others, some of the turn on, turn off fees that we charge, or, meter hookups and the like. With Hampstead area, we may contract with them, but the fees that we're charging, are barely covering the costs that we have to pay, or sometimes, we have to pay a little bit more than what we're charging. So, working with Underwood to go up and down the list, take a look, come up with a plan. And I was hoping to have it for tonight, but wasn't able to. So we'll talk about it on the 19th and have a public hearing in June for the adoption of those fees. So.
Questions? Well, just talking about, how about Wilder Drive? Is that getting close, or still trying to figure that out?
Still working on easements and plans. I don't believe that we've heard back from the state yet either, on the contract yet. So I did see an email going back and forth on easements, getting the finalized. We had to work with Unitil over there because of the crisscrossing of the Unitil wires, that we had to work and come up with a different plan or two to address some of their concerns as well.
All right, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we'll revisit the rest of it then, probably our next meeting. And, okay. So next we have, you'll see a letter we got here from the track committee. I don't know, Jay, did you want to go over this?
Yeah, sure.
Seeing as you wrote it?
So we reinstated the track committee to come up with some additional recommendations for residential trash and recycling RFP. So we met over various meetings and had multiple conversations, but basically the additions to weekly residential curbside pickup and biweekly recycling pickup, where they were suggesting that the trash haulers have more community engagement. I don't know how we would negotiate that put that into the RFP, but maybe it's something you negotiate within the contract. Maybe they can provide dumpsters for town events at no charge and assist us there, and maybe do some educational outreach. One of the other items was residential complaints. That seems to consume a lot of time for town employees. So one of the suggestions was to ask whoever we choose to handle all the complaints. Now, how quickly they'll address them, that's to be determined, but that was just one of the suggestions. Also,
So that would be then to call the vendor directly instead of town hall?
yes. Because you can call town hall and we can reach out to them, and they're pretty good about turning it around and addressing issues for the most part, but I have to imagine it's an overwhelming responsibility to handle that. So one of the other suggestions was to have them reevaluate the routes. I'm sure they look at, when these companies come into town, they look at our streets and do their own route optimizations, but maybe there's an opportunity there to reduce the number of days they're in town, maybe 3 days, 4 days, as opposed to 5 days doing pickup. And in talking to some of these, well, at least one of them, and talking to Republic, bulk pickup might not be a great or an expensive option, but maybe within the RFP, we can add an add-on type of, if they can quote us on maybe a 1 item a week bulk pickup, or designated pickup weekends throughout the year, maybe 2 or 3 bulk pickup weekends, or maybe even a dumpsters at the landfill where people have the ability to drop off bulk items for Plastow residents. So those are some suggestions. Also, that the hauler would take responsibility of replacing all of our carts, or handling that piece of it. Once we go through our stock of carts, then they would be responsible for replacing any broken ones. Another suggestion was to have an option potentially to get, if residents wanted to buy a smaller cart, if they don't need the 96-gallon one. And then continue to have the cardboard recycling. That seems to be a good option for residents in town, if we could offer that still. And then lastly, the committee was interested in continuing to do work and meet. They want to work on community outreach and other waste reduction initiatives. So if the selectmen want to keep that committee going, they would like to keep doing some work. So
I'd be in favor of the committee to keep going. I mean, if they want to volunteer, they have the energy. I think that's only a good positive thing.
right, they've been talking about setting up a table at Old Home Day and having information out there for residents when they come. So
So these are all things they want to add to the RFP?
yeah, whether it's adding it to the RFP or maybe using, as part of the contract negotiation with whoever we end up choosing. So
The only thing that might be good under the bulk pickup options is possibly to see if they have like a transfer station where you could take something and just drop it off ourselves.
yeah, absolutely. I know some of them do have transfer stations, but it all depends on, again, who we choose. So
Yeah. And if you have a bunch, I mean, granted you pay for it yourself, but that's how you get rid of it.
right.
Instead of having it around your house.
Yep. And that
No.
cardboard recycling, over there. That's been key. See people over there every day when I drive by at lunch, or
Yeah,
those things are full half the time when you go to try to put something in there. So
no, it doesn't, especially if you got a family, right? You figure how,
if you got kids and there's birthdays and holidays and stuff, definitely need it.
not only that, but I don't know if anybody shops anymore. The way I see UPS,
Amazon.
Prime, and FedEx going up and down the street, and that's all cardboard.
Yep.
No, I think that's definitely a good start, Jay.
Do we need a consensus to move it so that they keep going forward?
We can take all of these recommendations and when the town manager and special project coordinator work on the RFP, they can include this, I guess, consensus should be fine, right?
I think so.
I mean, if they want to keep volunteering time and get us more information,
They can.
Well, like the community
he
outreach.
is.
Well, community outreach is good, especially when it comes to recycling, things like that, especially if you get into the schools, reach out to that, get the kids to do it,
Yeah.
become more aware.
Old home day. That's a good idea too.
Yeah.
Well, one of the initiatives they already brought forward was the compost, so, I guess that's more of a discussion for us over the next couple meetings, so.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to discuss that a little bit more. But, yeah, I mean, I'm all in favor of keep going.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
And I think everyone here will probably have to look at the RFP that we used last time and see where to incorporate this, what they're
Yeah, I think-
suggesting into there.
If you look at the last one, there was a section in there that said, optional add-ons, basically.
So this is probably the same thing too, right? The add-ons, whether,
Yeah, it really hasn't changed all that much, so. But maybe if there's an option to, an opportunity to optimize the routes, if the bulk pickup isn't a thing, then maybe they can do the routes quicker and in less days. Maybe that will reduce the cost of the
sure, because
the
fuel,
base rate.
yeah, because fuel's money, right? It's
Right.
instead of driving time here.
So maybe there's an opportunity there to get a lower rate. I'm not saying we're going to get a lower rate than our current contract, but might
And for
help
the-
keep the cost down.
I guess the other thing we look at, recycling, we're still good with every other week.
Yeah. They were fine with that every other week.
I know it generally works out for me, especially if you didn't have the cardboard dumpsters, then I think that'd almost be a weekly thing.
Yeah, I think those offset each other there. Having that cardboard dumpster makes it that every other week
Yeah,
is maintainable.
yeah, I'd agree.
And as the other way to look at it too is what's the tipping fee going to be on the recycling? If it's higher than the trash, what?
Oh,
That's a conversation.
That's
yeah, it is.
you know what I mean? So who knows what they're gonna come back with us? Like we had one company come in and they said, the trash tipping fees was like $110, $115 per ton, and then recycling was about $10 less. Another company said it was $10 more. So
Yeah, recycling's not what it used to be, right?
No.
But, a couple of, 10 years, 15 years ago, it was
There's a big difference in
significant.
price.
It was.
Yep.
Now nobody wants it.
but in our last meeting with Republic, they did say that, the commodities were better. So maybe the rates will be lower, but they've been trending in a better direction than they have been over the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, that's good. So then if recycling's less, then the outreach becomes even bigger.
Right.
To educate.
But we'll see in today's market what that looks like. too.
When's the goal, do you think, when we should have the RFPs out?
I don't know, I thought when we talked about it, probably getting something out in June.
So we're
June,
a month
July.
away. That still sound about the right time. You want to do that, Greg?
Sounds good.
So we should probably think about putting this on the agenda just to look at that RFP again. So do you want it to get the RFP out in June? or July? What do you think? Just so we can set the agenda, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Why don't we do, well, we may have a busy meeting on the 19th. Let's do the first one in June.
Okay. No, and thank you to everybody on the track committee, because it seems like, you know, you guys have done quite a bit of work. I know I'm on it and I've missed a few. It happened to fall on either I've been traveling or I had another meeting pop up.
Yeah, they've been working, so.
Yeah, no, it's great to see people involved. All right, so first meeting in June, we'll look at the RFP so we can get that out. It's always a fun one. All right. Now, Beth, your favorite time of the year? Memorial Day Parade. It's hard to believe. What did you say to me earlier? That's 3 weeks away?
3 weeks from today?
That snuck up quick.
It did.
And I guess where do we need help? Where do you need help? What do we need to do?
Well, yellow portions are not confirmed. It's got a red check mark, it is confirmed. We have 2 confirmed speakers. I don't know if you want a third speaker being one of you. Possibly some kind of a tribute to Norm Major.
I know the prayer and the other statement by Post 34, which would include the chaplain, they don't have an assigned chaplain right now, so Calvin McGrillis is,
Yeah, I
Stepping
know
up.
he'll either do it or give me a name.
right.
So Calvin will do the prayer?
Yep.
So the next one on the list would be taps. We need someone to play taps, right?
Jay's gonna ask his son, maybe
Working on it.
help us out.
His,
The big juggle.
Sandown moved up their time and they couldn't get someone from the high school to do it, so they asked AJ to do it. So I think he'll be able to perform at Plastow and then get out to Sandown in time. So I'm just waiting. We're just trying to nail down some times. So I'll have an answer in the next day or 2.
Yeah, that's great.
AJ does a great job.
I have not heard from any of the scout leaders. So hopefully they'll come, they usually do, but no confirmation.
I was brought up at a Lions meeting, so I think there will be a group of Lions there to
Yes,
match.
they were emailed too, so hopefully they will show.
Oh, good, yeah, that'd be good to get the Lions. I know they've done it in the past.
I think we had Plastow baseball and softball March last year too, didn't we?
They did, so they're more than welcome.
Okay.
You wanna
Yep, I'll find out.
gather them, that would be great. And Bill, we're gonna put you in as like the welcome MC type person?
Yeah, I can do that. And then, do anyone want to speak that day? Want to speak?
I can do that.
Okay.
So do we want to do a tribute to Norm or just the Memorial Day?
We could probably talk, I mean, somewhere we should mention one, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you talk about, I mean, how many of was he there? It's
Yeah,
gonna be weird not seeing him, right?
right.
I mean, he is Plastow.
Mhm.
Let's see if I see a Bob. So I guess, is there anything else?
I mean, no, we'll be able to pull it together. And I know, like John said, Calvin Acrylis will be helping out.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Hopefully they will have a firing squad. That's getting tough only because some of the members are getting older and don't want to do that part of it.
Right.
I believe in conversations with Cal, he'll make sure that everything's gonna be straightened out. Any of the holes will be filled in, even if he has to reach out to a different post.
Then I know we start the march at 9, so what time do you generally want us over? And then we start that, over at Pollard, right?
Right, we should meet between 8:30 and 8:45, not later than 8:45, at the entrance to Pollard School, near the First Baptist Church.
Okay. I think that should be, as each week goes on, or day, if you need our help with anything, Beth, reach out to us. I know it's never, and then all you gotta do is pray for good weather.
There you go.
Just no rain. At this point, I'll take clouds.
I think after this week, we'll be all set. Hopefully. The Ducks were even wearing rain jackets and carrying umbrellas today.
Yeah.
All right, so that takes care of that. Next up, we just need to approve the consent agenda. And let's see, the consent agenda this week, we have the accounts payable manifest for the week of May 1st and 8th of 2025. And we have the draft minutes from April 21st, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda for May 1st.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So 5-0-0. And next up, Greg, what do you got for us?
Oh, not much more than before. The broken record. April 30th was the deadline for ARPA reporting with the federal government, so that has been taken care of. Have had some meetings with department heads, police, fire, and the like, going through personnel and some issues that have cropped up. As Dan stated, have worked on getting the cemetery, the markers for the rows and the plots, but also contracting with Charlie Zilch to get the both areas laid out so that we can start addressing, some of those concerns that we have over there. So other than that, usual, busy day to day.
All right, thank you. All right, next up, we get selectmen's reports. Tyler, you have anything to report?
Yeah, attended the rec committee meeting. They did a reorganization. They appointed a new chair with Charles Hill and a vice chair with Jessica Fulland. They have a full board and they have 4 alternates right now, so doing really well there.
Yeah.
They had summer camp signups last week. I think they went pretty well all in all. Everyone seemed prepared. We are short for camp counselors, so she is still looking for more counselors so they can bring more kids into the program. There's only a limited number she could let in this year. This Saturday, they're doing a Blaze the Trail over at Park to reopen the nature trail. So we have that going on. We had opening day for Plastow baseball on Sunday. Even with the rain, we were able to pull that off. Bill was able to attend as well. Jay. And then I attended the budget committee meeting for that reorganization. We welcomed some new members. Doug Thompson was appointed chair again, and Katie Knutson as vice chair. Other than that, business as usual. But
All right, thank you. I know usually with the councils, I know it's open, just looking at past history. Usually some councils now, hopefully, will start to show up now that vacation's over.
yep, exactly.
And I know, hopefully, everyone stayed on the waiting list, because I know,
I think she said the
Once they
waiting
have-
list is almost full, so if people still want to get on that, I would suggest they do. I think she was able to let 60 out of the 100 people sign up, so there's still about 40 slots, so she can get 6 more counselors.
right, and hopefully that'll be doable, hopefully that'll work out. So if anyone's out there, if you know anyone interested in a good summer job, I mean, it's a tough summer job to beat. But the minimum
Right,
pay is
get a
like $15 an
Field trip for a
hour.
week and get to hang
Yeah,
out.
I mean, you think about it, for a summer job for a kid, you're basically done by 4:30 every day,
Yep.
and you have weekends off.
Exactly. Yep. So,
which is a good thing. Thank you.
Yep.
Liz?
I just attended Norm Major's funeral. There is an energy committee meeting Wednesday and then a planning board meeting. There isn't?
Discipline.
Oh. No, he's
Oh.
saying no to the energy.
Oh,
Did I miss an email?
You missed an email. It
Okay.
came out today.
Okay, I haven't checked. So, yeah, so, what's that?
all right. Thank you. Jay?
Nothing to report. There's a budget meeting coming up in the beginning of June to fill the open vacancies. So if anyone's interested in putting their name in, please submit a letter of interest to the town hall, and I'll make sure I get that over to the budget committee. There's one open position right now, and that's it.
Good. Thank you. John?
Well, it was the last week, so there really wasn't a whole lot going on. I did attend both the Mercy Meal and for Norm, as well as we've got some water issues over at the town forest. I'm working with Concom to get that done. Jill's out of the state for a while, taking a motorcycle ride around the country, so I'm going to be reaching out to Southeast Land Trust and working with them to address it, and I'll update Concom as we move forward.
That's another case of beavers too, right?
Yes.
All right, and I know for myself, I attended opening day. I mean, they made as best as you could, right?
the fields are wet. I mean,
No, and the one thing you want to say too for the opening day is, for anyone who was there or wasn't there, you have like Jen Fielding, who's not going to be around next year.
Aaron Tilton.
Aaron Tilton, you had Bob Macera. It's phenomenal the work they've done the last few years, and you can't forget Kate, but it sounds like she's going to stay around a little bit, but she's really grown that program quite a bit with the help of everyone else that we just mentioned. It's really come a long way. I mean, they've done phenomenal work.
180 plus kids, 21 teams this year.
Yeah, and I think Kate and Jake can probably tell me whether I'm right or wrong. She's probably been president about last 4 years, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think longer than that.
I
but
think
yeah.
we convinced her to stay on, but she does want a little more reduced role. So
Yeah, and I mean, she does the scheduling for all the teams and everything.
every single town.
So quite a bit, but I mean, you're lucky that she's going to stick around. Like I said, Jen Fielding did quite a bit of work there, to help build the program. Aaron
Absolutely.
was there. Aaron Tilton was there for such a long time as well.
Yeah, all of them 10 plus years, and it's a big hit to the board.
Yeah, and like Bob Macera, his son aged out a few years ago, and he stepped down this year from treasurer. It's really a good thing to see everybody, staying together there.
Yes.
Done a great job.
Yep.
When I think where that baseball and softball started from years ago, when I first started. For this week, I have a planning board meeting on Wednesday. There's also a old home day meeting that night as well, so I won't be able to attend the old home day meeting. But I know John will be there.
I'll be there.
I also did attend that rec meeting where they did the reorg. And so that's what I had for done and for the week. Couple events coming up. There's the town-wide yard sale on Saturday, May 10th. So any questions on that and to get on the map, contact Recreation. Jen will be able to help out there. And we also have the Memorial Day Parade, which we mentioned earlier. It's Monday, May 26th, and we'll start at Pollard at 9 a.m. We start at Pollard. We go up to the cemetery. A few words are said up at the cemetery. And then we come back here for a quick ceremony. That's what we do on Memorial Day. Did anybody have anything they wanted to bring up?
I do. I had forgotten to mention, it's not town organized, but the Plastow Fishing Game Kids Fishing Derby is the 10th. It starts at 9 o'clock and ends at noon. Any child under the age of 12 is welcome to come on over. There's 500 fish that are newly stocked, so come on over and enjoy yourself. Yeah, the state matches us 250 every year. So on top of that, May 17th is the Special Needs Kids Fishing Derby. So if you have a child that needs a little more attention and a little more space, we allocate that day, same time, same thing, except we don't put an age limit on that one. That's any child that there will be club members there to help if you're not, if the parent is not a fisherman or oriented with fishing, there will be club members there to help support the kids on that date.
Nice, it's always a good event.
You know,
Always.
it's grown over the last few years, and it's great to see all the kids out
Yep.
on either event. So,
Absolutely. And I know we do have a quick non-public tonight. So what would we want to go into non-public under? Trying to think which one it would be. Any idea which one we should go under?
I'd say reputation.
Okay. Somebody wants to make that motion? We'll go into non-public and somebody wants to make a motion to go into non-public.
Make a
under-
motion to go in non-public on the RSA 91A:3, 2C reputation.
I'll second.
Second.
Mr. Coy?
Yes.
Mr. DeRoche?
Yes.
Mr. Gifford?
yes.
Ms. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Schwarman?
Yes.
All right, and we won't be coming back after non-public, so everyone have a great week, and to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day coming up on Sunday. Thank you, and hopefully we'll see you around town. Bye.